Hello, students, teachers, parents, history nerds. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Nutshelled History, where we lay out the facts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today, we're going to continue our American government series by looking at government and the economy. Don't forget that there's a link for a fill-in-the-blank worksheet in the description. I just ask that you like and subscribe. I apologize for any mispronunciations ahead of time. I do my best. Capitalism, simply put, is like a giant game of Monopoly, except with real money, real people, and a lot more rules. In this economic system, you're free to own land, labor, and capital, so long as you can afford them, then use them to make as much money as humanly possible. The three musketeers of production are land, all the cool natural stuff like trees, oil, and questionable real estate, labor, people doing the actual work, and capital, all the shiny machines and tools that help you produce things. If you happen to own some of that capital, congratulations, you're a capitalist. If you're juggling all three while praying not to go bankrupt, you're an entrepreneur. Now, capitalism works best when everyone's free to buy, sell, and undercut each other. Enter the free market where competition is king and the law of supply and demand is the court jester. More supply? Prices drop. More demand? Prices skyrocket. Simple, right? Except when one company bulldozes everyone else and becomes a monopoly. Then it's less like monopoly and more like, I'm the only one with boardwalk and you're stuck on Baltic Avenue. That's where the government steps in with an annoyed sigh to break up the fun. Speaking of the government, laissez-faire theory suggests that they should keep their hands off the economy, much like how a kid tries to avoid touching their vegetables. But in reality, the US practices a mixed economy, meaning the government sticks its nose in just enough to prevent things from going completely off the rails. Other systems, like socialism, attempt to share the wealth a bit more evenly. Karl Marx, the original sharing is caring advocate, thought capitalism was unfair and tried to pitch a classless society where everyone owns everything. Socialists go for a gentler approach, often offering retirement pensions and free healthcare. But communists? They're the all-or-nothing crowd, often looking to revolutionize things, literally. Communist economies like Russia's under Stalin gave us great industrial growth, but also an epic shortage of basic goods. By the late 1980s, they decided to return to the joys of private ownership with a side of capitalism. China, on the other hand, embraced the planned economy, but also figured out that letting some folks make a profit wasn't the worst idea. In the land of command economies, where bureaucrats rule and individual initiative goes to die, there are tons of paperwork and not much freedom. But you can't have everything, right? Meanwhile, the federal government in the US juggles a lot of roles, from referee to player. Agencies like the Federal Reserve, aka the Fed, manipulate interest rates like a kid fiddling with the volume on their speakers, trying to get just the right vibe. Other agencies, like OSHA, make sure workers don't get too squashed under capitalism's weight. All of this while trying to keep the economy from slipping into either inflation. Prices go up, everyone's wallet cries, or deflation. Prices go down, but so do jobs. Every year, the government comes up with a budget, which is essentially a national shopping list. If they spend too much, it's a deficit. If they somehow spend less, it's a surplus, which is about as rare as finding an honest politician. Globally, trade and economics have become a complicated dance, and the US is usually leading. Organizations like the IMF and World Bank help developing nations get their footing, while agreements like NAFTA, now USMCA, keep the trade lanes humming. Globalization has some perks, like cheap goods, but also its downsides, like jobs fleeing to countries where workers are paid in peanuts, sometimes literally. And thus, the world economy keeps spinning, sometimes smoothly, sometimes like a drunk hamster on a wheel. So let's recap. Capitalism is like a real-life game of Monopoly, where you can own land, labor, and capital to make money, with competition driving the free market. Prices fluctuate based on supply and demand, but monopolies can wreck the game until the government steps in. While laissez-faire suggests minimal government involvement, the US uses a mixed economy with agencies regulating everything from interest rates to worker safety. Other systems like socialism and communism aim to distribute wealth more evenly, with varying degrees of government control. Globally, trade and economics are a complex dance, led by the US, with organizations like the IMF and World Bank keeping things spinning. There you have it, folks. That's government and the economy nutshelled. Thanks for stopping by Nutshelled History. Don't forget to go nuts on the like and subscribe buttons. See y'all next time on Nutshelled History.